Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to try spring rolls, and we're also going to get some cleaning done. So my little island here was in desperate need of cleaning, at which point I ended up breaking it down to a multiple step cleaning solution, if you will, that I did. And you can see all the different steps, but basically I went ahead and removed all the crumbs. And then after that, I went and did the scrubbing that you see here with soap and water. And even though you don't necessarily see all the soap, there was a ton of soap on here. At least in my opinion, there was a ton of soap. And I'm making sure to get the edges of this, the island and everything. And then I go ahead and, take a sponge, as you're about to see, wipe off all the soap. But then the last step that I did was a little bit extra, but I definitely felt like it needed some disinfecting. So I took a disinfecting wipe and wiped the top all over, and that was that. The top is now so clean and so shiny you can see the reflection. That's pretty awesome and pretty clean in my opinion. Finally, to the spring rolls. Now, I explain later on how I cook this particular meat, and it's just pork chop loin. But I wanted to make sure, as I was looking at my recipes on Pinterest, I wanted to make sure things were cooked appropriately, and I needed to figure out how on earth how on earth the restaurants get the pork chops or any of the meat super tender. So I looked it up, I cooked it as such, and here you have that now. You'll see in just a little bit I'm boiling noodles while I do this because I figure multitask, and for those of you who cook, you do one thing and you get something else going. That way when you're done, you can it's all ready at the same time. Now here I'm using crinkle cut pre-sliced carrots, and you do not have to do this. I simply used it because we already had them, and this is the best way to get rid of them before they went bad. So that's what I did, is just use what I had. I went ahead and did go out and specifically get some of the other vegetables like the herbs and the cucumber, but point is, you do not need to use what I have. I'm just using it because I already had it. And folks, if you do notice there are things on the stove that probably shouldn't be there. One, limited counter space, but more importantly, they are ingredients for the dinner I was making for that night, and that video will be coming soon. All right, guys, so here we have the ingredients I'm choosing to put in for my spring roll. We have cooked pork chop loin, and I just boiled that. I might have actually overdone it because the recipe was calling for a lot more, and I just remember to follow the time-wise because I wanted to make sure it was cooked. But we have that soaking in a teriyaki sauce. It is a homemade sauce. We have our cut up strips of cucumber and carrots. We have the noodles, lettuce, mint, and parsley. Let's put it all together. So to start, you want to put the spring roll skins, the wrapper, in a container with some water. I went ahead and just used a cookie container because I needed it to be wide and flat enough for the circumference of the skin. I went ahead and used 2 skins. After I have done a few trial and errors when I did this, the 2 skins made it easier than just 1 skin. And if anybody has ever made any egg rolls before, this is very similar to that. However, these particular spring roll skins, they are stickier than an egg roll wrapper. So you definitely need to use a damp towel underneath the skin because I tried this without the towel and it just got stickier on my cutting board. So use a damp towel underneath if you decide you want to try this as well. And you see what I do to keep the skins damp as well as the noodles damp. I go ahead and stick my fingers right in that bowl of water, and it doesn't matter, I found out, if it's cold or warm, just so long as there's water there. But that's what keeps the noodles more workable and keeps the skin less sticky so you can actually use it the way you need to. Now with these noodles, as you see, I keep going and diving in for some more, and that's because I personally do not ever like it when the spring rolls have a whole bunch of noodles in there. So I kept going for more until I had the amount I wanted. I kept going for a little bit at a time, so that's why you see that. So now I'm just taking care of the dishes from this morning and the dishes that I just made. Now I will tell you guys that it was actually really fun and very rewarding to make these spring rolls, especially for the first time. I'm used to making egg rolls because of a family recipe that we have, even though I haven't made those in years, but it was very similar, like I said, to making egg rolls. But like I said, very rewarding, very, very worth doing. And I will be doing them again, but I'm excited to try chicken instead of pork chop loin. Here's the peanut sauce, which I deviated a little bit from the recipe, which is here. I also forgot to put in that they say to use some water, but my deviation was simply I used crunchy peanut butter, and then as far as the water goes, it's mostly for consistency. It doesn't change the flavor. The recipe called for about 2 to 3 tablespoons. I used less because I like thicker peanut sauce.